laughing and the baby smiling. Sun's up and the food cured. People doing what they be doing. Go ahead and double dutch. Sitting on the front porch. Don't let nobody change your mood. Can't change my mood. My sky's clear blue.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to Hustle and Heart. I am Lauren Andrea Kennedy, your host for this diary of an entrepreneur, this journey that I am on, I don't know if you can call it vlogging because I'm not really following myself around with a camera, but deciding to sit down like this, sort of impromptu, and document what I am going through, what's happening in my life, and then hopefully to help any of you guys out there who are maybe looking to take this kind of a journey as well. The last video I did was more on differentiating value, and it was sales focused, and I still want to do more content like that. And actually, I'll probably touch a little bit on that today. But today's episode is really all about failure and the fears that I have just being a woman, a wife, a mother, and trying to do this thing that feels so incredibly big. And something that I don't talk about a whole lot is mental health. I'm very passionate about it, but you might not know that because I just don't talk about it that often. I think that when you're trying to chase big things, there's the mental fortitude that you have to have. People often underestimate. And so I wanted to sit down, like I didn't plan out this episode. I'm such a planner and an organizer. And so I'm sitting down and I'm just talking to you as like real life. This is what is going on. I am just now 50 days into having quit my corporate job and being out on my own. No income coming in from me, like just living off of one income. And the things that you will deal with on a daily basis, just trying to be in business for yourself. But honestly, if you were in a sales job, like this is very similar. So even if you're not on your own, the fears that I am facing every day, I mean, it's really just failure. Hearing no constantly. And I talk about chasing failure, but there's also this very real, rough, like horrible up and down side of chasing failure, because you feel like you're getting somewhere and then you get a door shut in your face. You feel like you're getting somewhere again, you get another door shut in your face. You feel like you're so close to that yes, and then it just doesn't happen. And so, in a previous video, I think that was my first one. I don't know. And I recapped my first 30 days. Well, we're only 3 weeks past doing that video. And I can't tell you, there's been so many moments throughout the day where I'm like, what am I doing? I just want to quit. Like, I'm done. But even if you look at some of the first videos that I've ever done on YouTube, to like me just sitting here right now, like I'm looking at, I worked hard to just even do this little backdrop. So if you're thinking about doing a YouTube channel, like, no, you don't need any of these things. It's just my personality. And so I just wanted to sit down in a really candid video and just reveal, like, I'm just dealing with fear constantly. There's a fear of failure. And if you watch any of my previous videos, I talk about journaling. Journaling is something that I do regularly. And it's funny because this book that I got out, I started this while I was in my 9-to-5 job, or 8-to-5, whatever you want to call that. And so, when I journal, I always put at the bottom, first I say I will let go of, then I put I am grateful for, and then I say I will focus on. So that's how I started. And then I put the top 3 things that I need to do that day to get me closer to my goals. But then at the bottom, this is the third part of it, is I put fears, resentments, watch out for, and strive for. And I can't remember if I got that from the Huberman Lab. I did not make that up. I got that from somebody else. And so I started going back through my fears, and back in, I was still trying to run my business, or trying to like get out on my own regardless. But my fears it was still failure. So whether I'm in an office or not, like those fears are not going to change. They just got a little bit more detailed as far as like, I'm afraid I'm not gonna make enough money. I'm not going to get enough clients to survive. It just kind of that stuff on repeat. And then I realized like I resent myself for even feeling that way. So I'm like, I'm not even allowed to feel that way. So if you're thinking about going out on your own, this is what I would say to you: is expect the emotional roller coaster, but have a plan to deal with it. So that is my, why I want to sit down and actually talk about this, is because it is very real. And I'm not sure I can even convey like the emotional roller coaster that is trying to be a solopreneur, entrepreneur, run a business of any kind. It was never my intention to try to climb the corporate ladder. I knew that that was not my personality, that I didn't want somebody else having control over my future, that if I was going to go gung ho on something, I wanted it to be for something I was super passionate about. And when you're working for a company where they choose how much you are worth, and you end up having to go above and beyond for one, not getting a raise. We're in a market right now where a lot of companies are just not getting raises, and then leaders aren't even addressing it. So, I can either deal with my emotions in an 8 to 5, or I can deal with it on my own. And I know myself well enough that dealing with it on my own is the better option for me. Like, that is how I define success. Anyway, this video, I wanted to be, and I got to get back to that page, is that the mindset of an entrepreneur, it's not something, I'm not even sure I can explain that right now. There's a lot of videos out there for motivation, but you have to keep going. You have to find a way to deal with the mental side of things, the emotional roller coaster that it is, and find ways to keep going. So that's what I wanted to sit down and talk to you about today, is how do I deal with those things? How do I deal with the emotional roller coaster that is being an entrepreneur? And how do I handle that feeling of the fear of failure? So even though I say like I'm chasing it, I am, but I have to find a way when I chase it too much, or if there is such a thing, like, what do I do? And so it's real. Fear is something that can control your decisions, and I don't want to live like that. So I'm sitting here and I am talking to my iPad. Here's how I deal with it. So for what it's worth, I also deal with anxiety. So mental health, anxiety, all those things. I believe, so in my leadership programs, I fully believe in creating your own strength. That is why my company's name is Creating Strength. It is an ongoing process that you're never fully there. You have to keep creating it. If you don't work on it, it will go away. And I mean mentally and physically. So going to the gym is number one. So that is my first tip for you. In order to handle the emotional roller coaster and chase failure like a boss, is to create your strength. So number one is go to the gym. Physically take care of yourself, because mentally you're going to be taking care of yourself in that way. Okay. The second thing that I do is actually this. So by sitting down and just video diarying what I'm going through, it has only been 50 days. I feel like I'm on some sort of time. I don't feel like I'm too old, but I do feel like I'm under some sort of clock to reach some sort of pinnacle of success. I honestly just want like one decent paying client. I want a certain number for my leadership bootcamp. I have certain goals that I've set out for myself, and I'll be happy if I can just get a few people, but gosh, it would just be amazing to really, really reach that number. And, sometimes you're doing all the things, probably too many things. And I would say maybe I have a case of that where, yes, I have a YouTube channel. I also have a newsletter. You should go subscribe to that. I have been posting consistently on LinkedIn for actually not that long. I started when I was doing my master's program in like the second year, and I know I didn't have that many followers. I know it was under 500. But yesterday, excuse me, I reached 902. And for me, like that's a big deal, but it's just vanity metrics. I want quality connections. Um, but still for me, because one of my goals is just to get to 1,000. And it means that people are enjoying my content and that I'm able to make a difference. So that's big for me. But being 50 days in, my second tip is find a way to diary. Like if it's videotaping yourself, you don't have to put it on YouTube, but find a way to write it down, which actually goes into tip number 3 is journaling. So I journal every day. My goodness, called my throat. My new cup, by the way, I have fallen into the Stanley Cup trap, but went to the dark side, just a little bit brighter. So video diarying and then journaling. As I look back at the pages where I put fears, not filling my classes, failing, not making enough money, it's just this consistent, I make one little step forward and then I feel like I take 10 steps backwards. But it's only been 50 days. So this is like my reminder to myself that I have gotten to do some really big proposals and I'm getting to coach. Next week, I have my lunch and learn. I'm meeting some amazing people and like things are happening, but they're not happening at the pace that I want them to happen. I'm like, let's go, let's go. I want to go and be able to get into my genius zone. And I have not been able to do that. So be patient with yourself. Okay. So tip 2 and 3 is find a way to keep a diary. I recommend actually creating videos, but write it down. Make sure that you're journaling. And tip number 4 is really 2 things. It's be patient, but be consistent. So as I said on LinkedIn, I have been showing up pretty consistently for the last couple of years. And people will complain that they're not reaching their goals. But when I talk to them, like, well, what are you doing to get there? And they're like, well, I haven't done anything today. Just, you have to look at your actions, right? So like, am I consistently showing up? And I've gotten to my number because I've been consistent in showing up. I started my blog and now like I'm trying to consistently show up on YouTube. When you get value, like you get quality followers who care about your content and they care about your brand, it's because you're consistently showing up. And it's hard to do sometimes. You feel like you don't want to do it. Did I want to sit down and do this? Actually, I did not. I don't feel like talking. So I feel like I'm talking to myself. I'm not. Like I know people are going to watch this. And no matter how few, right? Like I know people are going to watch this and I want you to get something out of it, but you have to consistently show up. So being patient with yourself can be very, very hard. So work out, diary somehow, journal, be patient, be consistent. And I keep shutting this. I had my notes written down. I got to stop doing that. Hang on. We are live, folks. I'm not editing this out. I said that when I started this, that I wasn't going to be editing. Okay. So consistency and patience. And then nope, I already said that. Okay. So last one is just to keep showing up. So I actually just flipped it around. So number 1, workout. Number 2 and 3, diary, journal, and then 4 and 5, be consistent and be patient. And that, just to wrap that up, is keep showing up. The amount of times in the last 50 days that I've said, what am I doing? I should just quit, is kind of obnoxious. And I don't even want to admit it. And I said it this morning, like, what am I doing? But I took a lot of time and effort into like making this is my whole thing back here. I love this. And it doesn't make me uncomfortable to be in front of a camera, but it does make me uncomfortable to admit to people possibly watching that, like, I'm failing over and over and over again. Every single day I'm failing and failing and failing. I can't tell you how many emails I've sent. And then when I get somebody that unsubscribes to my list, it's like, it's hard to not take that personally. I don't, but that feels like another failure. But all it means is that your quality, you're weeding out the people that aren't meant to be your customer. And that's what you want. So believe it or not, by somebody, not responding to you, those no's get you closer to a yes. So that is all I wanted to tell you today, is give you my tips. Make sure that if you're in sales or you're wanting to go out on your own, is follow those tips. Make sure you're working out, document what you're doing, but be consistent and be patient and keep going. These are all the tools that I use so that when I do get down, it's a little bit easier to pick myself back up. I'm not saying it's super easy, because it's not. And I will probably still have a moment today. Anyway, so make sure that you subscribe to my newsletter. You will get more entrepreneurial tips, sales tips, mindset, and then of course, leadership, and subscribe to my channel. I also have coaching memberships. If you're interested in coaching, I am taking on some case study type clients, which means you get a discounted rate. You still get wonderful coaching sessions with me. I specialize in helping people become catalysts of transformation. So if it's your own life you want to transform, let's do this. I don't just coach leaders. So anyone who is looking to level up their life, like, yes, I can help you become a leader. But if you have a goal and you're not where you want to be in life, like, let's work together. So you can send me an email at laurenandreakennedy@gmail.com and we can chat about it. But I do have coaching memberships. So right online, a group coaching community. Oh my goodness. Anyway, okay. So make sure you subscribe. If you found any of this helpful, please let me know. Don't be afraid to comment or reach out. This is a community, and I want it to be a two-way conversation. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and anything else that you want to see. All right, all my viewers out there, keep creating your strength. And until next time.